Hi everyone, it's Papa Hector here. So we're answering another question. So gracias a la misericordia, ancient ones, to all of you here with us. If you like our lives, you like our videos, if you love to learn, if you're on the mystic path, you want to donate to these lives, go ahead and cash app us, cash symbol Hector Salva, and you can subscribe to us here on YouTube. Join almost like 3K other people with us learning on this journey called life. And if you haven't already done so, you can just check us out on Facebook, Instagram at Hungan Hector, where we also have two groups: English Mystic Mavericks and Spanish Místicos. So we have a question about basically this. I'm going to kind of read it because that's the best way for you to understand it, right? Sanse, being a form of spiritism, is this tradition able to be interacted in a foundational way which sees Saint Santos addressed as both Santo and Misterio and allows for Misterios, Cortes, Divisiones, Naciones to be served in a safe manner? And so basically, if they were to try to do everything except for work with the Misterios, is there a potential to develop as a Sansita within the first gates of development? So basically, can someone who's been practicing Espiritismo from a Sanse lens or worldview, who works with the frame that they have discovered, interacts in misas with 21 divisions or cortes, and avoids misterio and divinity work, will we see this person as a lay Sansita or someone practicing Sancocho, like we see in other ATRs, or more so of a poet who didn't even know it? Okay? So let's get some clarity here. A very great question. Very great question. So basically, and it's a big thing that people don't understand about Sanse, right? Sanse is an initiatory path that carries a lineage. Because of it, when it was developed, when Sanse was developed, and many other factors going on at that same time, Sanse kind of remained kind of small, right, as far as it is, right? And so there was only really 3 lineages of Sanse. So that's number 1. It's an initiatory tradition, which means you really can't be a Sansita without a godparent and initiations and ceremonies basically being taken into a lineage, right? However, you can be an espiritista. There's a difference, right? You can be an espiritista that works with spiritual guides and potentially even works with misterios. Potentially. But that's very, what you have to understand is that that's very kind of like, it's a grayish area, because what you have to understand is that an espiritista might have misterios with them, but that doesn't make them, or even if they're trying to work with misterios, that doesn't make them a Sansita, and it doesn't make them a 21 divisions practitioner. It makes them an espiritista. Just like an espiritista who's working with orishas is not a santero, right? So an espiritista working with misterios is not a Sansita, right? Although that's the direction that that person's leaning towards, and it's probably what they should go and really further learn and gain themselves a godparent and take that path. But the path of Sanse, in the path of Sanse, a godparent is necessary, especially because Sanse wasn't dispensed as readily as it was Espiritismo. So Sanse has Espiritismo in it, but Sanse is not Espiritismo. It's something different. Okay? And with that being said, that doesn't mean that as an espiritista, you can't work with certain, you can't be working with misterios. You can. And there are espiritistas who work with misterios. However, you have to understand that they are not 21 divisions, brujos, servidores, devotos, nor are they sansita, right? And the problem here is also because you're saying if the person works through a Sanse lens or a Sanse worldview. But the thing about it is, in order for you to know what a Sanse worldview really is, you have to have a lineage because that has to be passed down to you, and really the wisdom has to be given to you. That's part of the secrets. So here's part of where the different, like, uh, where a lot of people get themselves confused. And a lot of people think that they're practicing Sanse or etc. or doing Sanse, but in reality they're not. They're espiritista, which is fine, who may serve or work with some misterios, right? Or attempt to do so, whichever the case may be. All right? But you have to understand that when they're approaching the misterios and working with the misterios, they're working with them like espiritista work, not how we work in the other traditions. So that's one. Okay? And so I wouldn't see this person as a sansita. I would see them person as an espiritista who is working with some misterios. I would encourage that person to actually move in the direction of finding a proper godparent and really learning Sanse properly, because that's really sounds like where they should go and where they should be, and basically progress from there. Okay? Let me tell you something else. Just having, grown up in a family that was one of those lineages of Sanse. There's not a lot of them out there. There's not a lot of Sanses out there to be able to teach it to you. A lot of what's being put out there is not always Sanse. So I see them as an espiritista, and who is working with some misterios. But we have to understand that, as an espiritista working with misterios, there's a lot of things that can be done. They can't be initiating people because there's no initiation in espiritismo for misterios, right? There's certain things that they can't necessarily do or get to, and without certain secrets, they're going to be kind of like really working at fumbling a lot in the dark. They may achieve certain things and it may be beautiful for some time, but there's also a lot of problems that come up with that we've seen frequently come up with that, because when the misterios aren't properly understood, or the spirits, that has its problems. However, if they were an espiritista who were in an apprenticeship, un aprendizaje, and with someone else more senior, an elder espiritista, that would be a different scenario or a different case. A lot of times when people are being called to be dealing in Sanse, they find they have misterios and that they're drawn in that direction. However, they have to understand they still continue to be an espiritista until they're actually in Sanse, right? So I hope that answers that question for you. We don't look at it kind of like with the nose turned up, right? Because that's not really the way to be about things. That's not, That's not how Sansita be. Okay? However, what we do see is like that person has a potential. Maybe they're not fully exploring that potential or really understanding everything that they could be, you know? And they might have misterios, they're an espirituita, and they're, doing the best with what they know how, right? But the word of being a sansita, because sanse is an initiatory path and requires a godparent, you can't really be a sansita without that, right? You can't. It's just it's passed on. It's passed on. It's not something that basically someone can pick up and just like do, right? It's something that gets passed on. So, and it's passed on via ceremonies and initiation, and the wisdom is passed on. And yeah, so we can't really call them that. All right. So many blessings to all of you. And from there, many blessings.